Although many scientists do believe that these carnivores and scavengers hunted in groups, very much like today's Komodo dragons, they may have even taken bites out of each other while sharing a carcass. Hearty appetite. Although look up ahead, it looks like good news for the herbivore lovers of the group. A very large Apatosaurus has escaped the family of carnivores. This plant-eating dino grew to be up to 50 feet long. Sauropods, they fed primarily on plants, and although scientists don't think they held their necks upright, their long necks allowed them to reach leaves high up in trees like modern-day giraffes. And you see their teeth, squared off and flat? That means it's an herbivore. Sharp, carnivore, flat, herbivore. Now, look it up ahead. These are a herd of Pentaceratops. They may look familiar because they are indeed a relative of the Triceratops, but they have 5 horns instead of 3. And looky there, there's a baby! Aw! Now with so many large mouths to feed, they may have to migrate to find fresh food. Very much like American bison today. Now, these 3 coming up, I think we've seen this type before. A sauropod, plant eater, or an herbivore. To my left is the smallest of the 3, 30 feet long, the Shunosaurus. Yeah. To my right, slightly larger at 45 feet long, the Dottosaurus. And the longest, right up ahead, is the Omeisaurus. 60 feet long, the size of 2 school buses. Gentle giants. This reminds me of the African plains when we see zebra, gazelle, and giraffes able to live together because they eat different plants at varying heights. Now, coming up, we have 2 Parasaurolophus. Those beautiful crests they have, scientists think they use to amplify their calls, perhaps in a deep low note, like an elephant or even a whale. Like modern-day animals, they would call out to each other to communicate from long distances, to scare off danger, or even attract a mate. If we listen, we can hear. And speaking of attracting a mate, here's some flashy crests on these Cosmoceratops. Scientists believe, according to fossil evidence, that these Cosmoceratops would attract each other using these crests because they likely were too brittle for defense. Like the modern-day hornbill, males and females would display these elaborate crests. My question is, who's trying to attract whom? Mutual admiration dinosauriety, if you ask me. Thank you, thank you. Enjoy the buffet. Over here to my right, I see 2 feathery dinosaurs. Those are troodons, the smallest of all the carnivore meat eaters. Why are they here? Well, here's why. They have found nests with eggs. These are the Maiasaura. And those are Maiasaura eggs. Now, what they would do is they would build nesting colonies and incubate their eggs with rotting plant matter. Unlike modern birds today who build upright nests in trees, they would build nest mounds, very much like flamingos today, and they would feed their young plant materials until they were strong enough to walk. Luckily for the babies, the parents are on guard from the hungry troodon. So are there any dinosaurs you haven't seen yet that you want to see? Which ones? Yeah. A pterodactyl? We'll see a relative of that coming up, and how about you? A T-Rex? Well, speaking of which, not only do we have 1, but we have 2. Right up ahead. These fossils that were found have 2 male Tyrannosaurus rex fighting for dominance, very much like male gorillas do today. Now, we know gorillas don't always get along. Farther down the evolutionary chain, human beings don't always get along, and ancient dinosaurs certainly didn't always get along. Now, fossils have found tooth marks from the Tyrannosaurus, showing that they bit heads and faces. Males and females, they would live in groups. They would even bite each other during courtship. That would be quite a road fight. I think we should let them fight it out. Now, like modern animals do today, many different species would congregate near watering holes for food and resources, like this large armored tarkia to my right, making its way to the water for a drink, and across from that, there's a couple gallimimus. Aren't they pretty? They resemble today's ostrich. Also looking for some water. And behind them, speaking of pterodactyls, here's a relative, the pterosaur. Now, pterosaurs are not actually dinosaurs. They are prehistoric flying reptiles. Now, these gatherings of many species weren't always harmonious. Fossils show injuries, and this violent encounter coming up of fossils that we have found is between the Stegosaurus and the Allosaurus. These fossils found remind us of a modern-day tiger who would build a waterhole to ambush its prey. Who do you think's going to win this battle? Who says the Stegosaur? Who says the Allosaur? My money's on extinction. Thank you. I'll be here all week. Now, we're riding along the water, and we're going to see one of our last dinosaurs. Danger would lurk underwater as well. The semi-aquatic dinosaur, the Spinosaurus. They would hunt along the bottoms of rivers and swamps, hunting for fish. And although not the heaviest of the meat-eating dinosaurs, it was the longest from head to tail, and reminds us of the crocodile or gharial. Looks like it caught a 10-pounder. I'm kind of happy it's letting us roll on by. For those who believe in the Loch Ness Monster, this is the dinosaur they believe it evolved from. Well, ladies and gentlemen, what do you think? Dinosaurs have more in common than modern animals than you'd believe, right? Dr. Leakey, we have made it back to tell the tale.
Welcome back. It was a pleasure having you all on board the Dinosaur Safari. I hope you learned a lot about dinosaurs and modern animals.